Baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. Under the roof tonight, it's a hot, rainy one in Milwaukee, and it's a rubber match. Cubs and the Brewers wrap up a 3-game weekday series. Welcome to Cubs Baseball. Jim DeShays and Len Casper with you. The Cubs season starting to wind down, as is their magic number, which actually remained at 10 after they lost and the Cardinals won yesterday.
Yeah, dramatic win for the Cardinals in their ball game last night. The Cubs got beat. Jason Hamill got knocked around pretty good by the Brewers, but steady as she goes for this Cubs team. Just a matter of when, not if, they clinch the division. 89 and 49, a 15.5 game lead in the Central, on pace to win 104 games. That would be the most since 1910.
Cardinals are in Pittsburgh tonight. Pitching matchup, Mike Montgomery, one of the Cubs' 6 starters, will go for them. And former Cub Matt Garza will throw for the Brewers. Anthony Rizzo was going to be out of the lineup tonight, but then he hit 2 homers last night, so he is back in there this evening. We'll have Game 3, final game of this series, coming up from Milwaukee.
Your deck should be a place to relax, not make extra work for you. So choose Ultra Deck Low Maintenance Natural Composite Decking from Menards. In 8, 12, and 16-foot lengths, 99 cents a linear foot. For flat or low-sloped roofs, save on EPDM rubber roofing. A 10 by 20-foot roll is $99. It's also available in larger sizes, up to 20 by 100-foot rolls. Now during the Menard Days Sale.
Save big money at Menards.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all working with United Way for a million little reasons. The kids of our communities, to ensure their academic success all the way to graduation day. You see, it takes about 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a kid becoming one or the other could be a professional athlete, or it could be you. Studies showed the earlier we get to kids, the better their chances. So become a United Way volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, and make a difference in the life of a child, for the life of that child.
Give. Advocate.
Volunteer. Live United. Join your favorite NFL players. Take the pledge. Go to unitedway.org.
Cubs baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, through it all. Ford, inviting you to check out their fuel-efficient lineup at your local Ford store or at localfordstores.com. Southwest Airlines, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by your local Kia dealers. Visit mykiachicago.com to learn more.
Sun always shining on the Fonz. Hey. Welcome back to Miller Park. Roof closed tonight. Cubs and Brewers. Milwaukee snapping a 6-game losing streak against the Cubs in the season series with a win last night. And it is Roberto Clemente Day. Around Major League Baseball, and all the teams nominated a player for the big award, and the Cubs nominee is Anthony Rizzo. You can vote for Anthony on Twitter, but make sure you vote at MLB, and then the hashtag vote Rizzo. And that prestigious award recognizes extraordinary character, community involvement, philanthropy, and positive contributions on and off the field.
Yeah, originally begun in 1971 as the Commissioner's Award, and then after the great Clemente passed away, they renamed it the Roberto Clemente Award beginning in 1973. Rick Sutcliffe won it in '87. Sammy Sosa also won it. Last year was Andrew McCutchen of the Pirates.
Rizzo would be a great choice. There's no question about it. So let's update the standings. Cubs leading the Cardinals by 15.5. The Pirates right now taking on water. They have dropped 8 in a row and blew a 9th inning lead last night. Milwaukee's been basically in fourth place all season long, but they've played better than a lot of people thought, even though they're in a rebuilding mode.
Cardinals and the Giants right now would claim the wild card spots. The Mets are playing really good baseball. I was looking at their schedule today. They've got a pretty soft schedule the rest of the way. A lot of Atlanta, a lot of Philadelphia. They have a series with the Twins, so I would not be surprised to see the Mets sneak in there and claim one of those wild card spots.
Time now for greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. And some significant players coming off the disabled list. Strasburg with the elbow. Stanton, we thought he might be done with the groin issue. It might be a little too late for the Marlins. And the Rangers looking to get Colby Lewis back. We might not see Carlos Correa this weekend. The Astros shortstop dealing with a left shoulder issue, and Dallas Keuchel also out with a shoulder issue at the moment. Here's Matt Garza and the Brewers defensively. And the Cubs Southwest starting lineup has a little bit of a twist. We thought Anthony Rizzo was going to get the night off. That was the original plan. But after a 2-homer performance, Joe decided to get him back in there tonight. Fowler, Bryant, and Rizzo. Zobrist in the cleanup spot. Russell, the shortstop. Chris Coughlin is in left. Jason Hayward in right, batting 7th. Wilson Contreras with his first and only start of this series. And the pitcher, Mike Montgomery, will bat 9th.
Brewers defensively brought to you by Arby's. See an outfield alignment of Braun, Broxton, and Santana. Villar, Arcia, Perez, Carter third to first. Manny Pena is behind the plate, and the Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Matt Garza. Missed a bunch of time with a strained lat. Started the year on the DL, so he's made just 15 starts. 5-6 with a .457 earned run average. He's been better of late.
Umpires, that's Chad Whitson back of the plate. Jerry Meals, the crew chief, is at first. Ron Culp is at second, and Will Little is at third.
Garza 4-1 here in his home ballpark with a .280 ERA. So big splits home road for Garza. Much better here than he is on the road. 1-4 in his career against the Cubs with a .429 ERA. He's made 7 starts. One of those came earlier this year, back on August 16th. He went 5 innings, allowed 5 hits, 3 runs. Cubs won the ball game 4-0. There are the splits. He's a lot better here.
And the leadoff man is presented by Binny's Beverage Depot. If Dexter Fowler gets a hit here in this first plate appearance, Binny's will donate $100 to the Greater Chicago Food Depository.
Garza very deliberate. Got a lot of idiosyncrasies out there. He's got a good arm. He's 95. He'll touch 95. Sit comfortably around 92. Slider, curve. Change up, but not much.
You would expect most pitchers to be better at home than on the road, and Garza has been much better at home in his career than on the road. The first pitch, fastball for a strike on Fowler to get us started. .342 career ERA in his home ballpark, .466 on the road. It does make you wonder, though, with Matt about that routine. It's a little more controllable for his home starts. Braun in left. He's the Brewers Clemente Award nominee, and he makes the catch for the first out.
Yeah, I'd agree. You know, Garza's everybody's a little bit of a creature of habit in this game, but he is more than most, I guess, to an extreme. But the strikeout pitch working his last 2 starts. Punched out 17 over 12 1/3 innings. His last start was against the Cardinals. He went 7 innings, allowed just 1 run, struck out 8, walked a couple.
Chris Bryant out of the lineup yesterday. On Monday, went 0 for 5 to snap a career best 21 game on base streak. Roof closed, panels closed because of the rain. It's 80 degrees inside, 70 degrees outside. No, the heat is not on. Just kind of trap that heat and humidity. They do not have air conditioning in the main bowl here, so it's hot.
Not so much with Bryant, but the bunt is in play with Garza. Has a hard time throwing to the bases.
Nice play, Carter. Garza cannot beat Bryant to first. Head first slide to beat the play. That's an infield hit.
Again, the combination of power and speed with Bryant so rare. It's a fair number of infield hits for a guy who hits the ball out of the ballpark.
You saw just a slight hesitation by Garza, and that cost him a base runner.
Yeah, Garza kind of trying to time his arrival at the bag with the flip from Carter, and in that instance, you just got to sprint to the base.
So that brings up Rizzo. Joe thought Anthony might be a little fatigued, but after he watched him crank 2 home runs last night, thought, well, got an off day tomorrow, we'll get him in there. And a base hit to right. Bryant to second. He will put on the brakes. Back-to-back one-out singles.
Anthony continuing here tonight what he was doing last night, and that is attacking early. He was jumping all over first pitches in the ball game last night. Wastes no time here tonight. Off his former teammate, gets a center cut fastball and rips it into right. And now 7 out of 19 in his career against Garza.
Brings up Ben Zobrist, former Rays teammate of Matt Garza's. 2 for 4 last night after just 1 hit in his previous 8 games. He has been taking his walks. Ben's in the cleanup spot and playing second, and he takes high for ball 1. These are strange days on the schedule. You're on the road. It's a night game, and you've got to fly to the next city. Cubs won't get into Houston until very late tonight / early tomorrow. But when you get into September, most teams like to play night games during the week with school back in session. So that's why this is a 7 o'clock start. And the pitch. 2-1. Kind of get into that rhythm, right? You play night, night, day, and then you move on.
Yeah,
but here it was day, night, night,
and
kind of backwards.
The night getaway day always feels a little off.
Hit a ton, but foul. Cubs will face this situation again at the Sunday night game in Houston before flying on to St. Louis. Part of the deal, especially when you're the Cubs. Get a lot of Sunday night games as a result of their national following. It's in the dirt.
Yeah, we got a little mini vacation Saturday and Sunday. We're not televising in Houston.
See if the runners will go here with a 3-2 count. We're going to see a few droplets of water. Looks like they've got just a couple of minor leaks with the roof and all this rain. They're not going, and that's ball 4, and the bases are loaded.
First inning has been a little bit of a trouble spot for Garza. He came into this game with an ERA of 6 in the first inning this year. 15 starts, 10 earned runs.
Guys on the left side of the infield had last night off, Russell and Bryant. RBI opportunity for a guy who's already knocked in 88 this year. Garza coming back on a 1-0 ground ball to Carter. He'll fire to the plate for one. Relay not in time. Garza hit the deck. He didn't want to be hit by that throw. As he was headed over to cover first base. 2 outs, bases still loaded. Is Chris Coughlin. He's playing left. Monday came off the bench. Had the go-ahead RBI single in the 7th. Scored a run that inning, stayed in the game, and then knocked in 2 with a base hit in the 8th.
Broxton, the center fielder, plays him a step the other way and shallow. Santana fairly shallow too for the pull side, and Ron playing pretty deep out there and left. The opposite of what you would expect. Ball was really carrying well in that direction last night. It was hot and steamy, and the roof was open.
Yeah, no breeze tonight.
Split that gap in right center. Score 3 and probably end up on third base himself. Hitters count.
Now 2-1. Looks like this will be the smallest of the 3 crowds in this series. We had a sellout here Monday. For 32, almost 33,000 here last night. It's 3-1 with nowhere to put him. Garza's 32. He is signed through next season. Came here on a 4-year contract prior to 2014. Traded from the Cubs to the Rangers in 2013.
A 4-year, $50 million deal with a vesting option has not gone well for him in a Brewer uniform. 19 and 28 with a 4.58.
Ground ball to short. Arcia will fire to Carter, and Garza escapes. They made him work for it. But the Cubs do not score. They leave the bases loaded. Mike Montgomery takes the ball when we come back.
Speedy Cash is the name you can trust for delivering cash fast. Speedy Cash has competitive rates, fast, friendly service, and most importantly, they're state licensed. Relax. Speedy Cash has you covered.
Love that Speedy Cash.
In case you need anything, just give me a call.
P.O. Box 17. Of course I'm a real company.
You got the area code.
Everything your customers see tells a story. Let the UPS store help you tell the right one. From business cards and banners to expertly packed shipments to mailboxes with a real street address. Come in today for help.
Jack Link's Jerky presents Working Out with Sasquatch. The cornerstones of any serious fitness program are exercise, diet, sleep, pectorals, and hair. All of which are part of Working Out with Sasquatch and protein-packed Jack Link's Jerky.
Protein, amino acids, good for the hair muscles.
Fan! Jack Link's Jerky, a protein packed snack packed with protein.
With a title loan from Speedy Cash, you can get up to $2,500 cash on the spot. Get the most cash out of your car and into your pocket. With Speedy Cash, you'll always get the most competitive rates. Keep your keys, keep your car, get your cash.
Love that Speedy Cash.
Now the Brewers Southwest starting a lineup, and yes, JD is all over those gigantic pretzels tonight. VR had a big night last night. Broxton and Braun. Perez 4 hits in game 2. Carter homered on Monday. Santana's in right. Arcia, the rookie shortstop. Manny Pena getting his only action of the series. Matt Garza, the pitcher, bats 9th.
Are they really that big?
Well, they look big.
It's an optical illusion. But here are the Cubs defensively, and it's brought to you by Arby's. Coughlin, Fowler, Hayward, left, center, right. Third baseman is Bryant. Russell and Zobrist up the middle. Anthony Rizzo's at first. Wilson Contreras is the catcher, and the Lexus starting pitcher is the lefty Mike Montgomery. Those are his numbers with Seattle and the Cubs, 4-5 with a 2.80 ERA.
Kind of a soft 6-man rotation. Montgomery in there tonight against a very right-handed lineup. Cubs made one adjustment to the Houston series. John Lackey and Jake Arrieta will swap spots. Lackey will start on Saturday. Arrieta will go Sunday night. And the 1-1. There's a strike on the outside corner, 1-2. Spazio said throwing strikes is key for Montgomery. He's gotten into trouble. He's just been working from behind a lot. It's never a good idea. It's been particularly perilous for him.
Yeah, unless one of those crafty pitching backwards guys that can get you out with a 3-1 changeup. Well, Mike's got good stuff. The flash 97, sit 93, has a hard cutter, slider, kind of a hybrid pitch, curveball and a change. Made his Cub debut here back on July 23rd, third of an inning, allowed a solo home run.
That was weird. It was Kurt Neuenhuis, 3-run homer just inside the foul pole and left. Comebacker and 1 out.
VR, who had a big night last night. He was a double shy of the cycle. This is Mike's 4th start with the Cubs. It's been a mixed bag. He was really good in that start at Colorado back on the 20th of August. And 4 1/3, allowed just 1 hit.
Keon Broxton playing center. 1 for 4 in the series opener. Up and down a few times. Minors to the majors. First major league hit came in his 25th official at bat. And it was in his 2nd stint this year. Foul territory. Rizzo's over there, and it'll drop. 3 Cubs in the area.
Cubs in pursuit. Nobody could make the play. Broxton continues on. He's been really good since the All-Star break. And interesting guy. He's lean, he's strong, he runs well. He's among the league leaders in average exit velocity. When he hits it hard.
And Brewers are really intrigued by him. 26 years old, from Lakeland, Florida. 3rd-round pick of the Diamondbacks, 2009. Brief major league debut with the Pirates last season. And acquired by the Brewers in December. This is Zobrist, and that's out number 2. We'll bring up Ryan Braun. He has homered in each of the first 2 games. 4 knocked in, 3 runs scored last night, and remember, he got robbed of extra bases by Jason Hayward.
He can't wait for the Cubs to get out of town. He's got to be conflicted because he's always done a lot of damage against the Cubs. But with all the Cub fans here, he gets booed every time he gets introduced. Doesn't seem to be affecting his performance. Maybe fueling his performance.
Strike 1 from Montgomery. Inside that time. How about this? He's batting .308 in his career .304. On base percentage this year .368, career .367. Slugging this year .544, career .545. So the year he has had this year is basically the career he's had in a decade.
Well, what's Braun, 32?
He is 32 years old.
It's a time where some guys go into a decline, but clearly he is not. Most hitters peak in their late 20s, 27, 28, in that range, and see a little bit of a decline in their early 30s. And most guys, by the time they're in their mid-30s, are, I'd say, circling the drain, but their careers are trending downward. Not all. Mike's got a nice assortment of pitches. Got a good arm. He's a former first-round draft pick. Second year in the big leagues, he made 16 starts with the Mariners last year. He was 4-6 with a .460. Pitched a couple of shutouts. And that was good to tie for the American League lead in shutouts. His first came against his former team. His 5th big league start, he shut out the Royals.
Three and 2. VR and Broxton have grounded out. Another ground ball. This time it's Bryant. Nicely done by the lefty. Clean first for Montgomery. We are scoreless after 1.
So, how fast does this thing go?
Depends on who's in the sidecar. It's pretty comfortable in there.
Let's go for a ride.
All right.
Definitely misread this one. Geico Motorcycle. Great rates for great rides. Swing and a miss.
On the next drive, Lincoln Way East football, presented by Riverside Healthcare.
I think anytime you have fond memories of an alma mater, be it high school or college, and then you get to bring back a group of young men to be here where I played a little football here back 89 and 94, and it's a special place to me.
He's done so much for us, doing this is definitely just a small payment we could give back to him.
Tune in to High School Lights tomorrow night at 11 for this edition of Drive Griffins, only on CSN Chicago.
In banking and baseball, you have to stay alert. With my Bank of America mobile banking app, I can select alerts that notify me when unusual activity is detected on my credit and debit cards. I used to play when I was younger. I love the outfield. All that green grass. Until the championship and the inside the park home run. Sure could have used an alert then. I missed lunch that day.
We all know that Jake's our ace, but in April, he was much more than that. He was unhittable.
Swing and a miss. 3 outs away.
And our offense was unstoppable.
Grand slam time. 13-0.
But on that night, it was all about Arrieta.
It's a no-hitter. Jake Arrieta has done it again. Wow. That was fun. Cubs baseball on CSN Chicago is presented by State Farm. Yeah, you might want to have a fan with you tonight here at Miller Park. Jason Hayward takes a fastball 93 for a strike. 0 for 7 in the series. He's knocked in a run, scored a run, made a nice catch in the ball game last night. He did not hit the ball hard on Sunday. Came up with those 3 big RBI hits against the Giants. That one hit hard, and of course, for an out. But I was just going to say, prior to that swing, we hadn't seen a lot of balls squared up in this series by Jason.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Right on a button.
Contreras catching tonight. So I don't want to get ahead of the story, which is just this game tonight. We tend to look at the small picture on our broadcast, but a lot of people around the Cubs are already talking postseason roster and the like. We have not talked to Joe about any of that stuff. I don't think he has come up with any conclusions. But with 24 games to go, I guess I would say one thing, and I'd be curious to get your thought on it, is number one, things can change due to injury, performance, all that stuff over the final 3 weeks. But for the most part, I don't think you're going to see any wild, crazy decisions that will take people by a ton of surprise, because his team has been so consistently good. In other words, Joe has gone mainly with this 3-catcher thing for a few months. We don't know if we'll see 3 catchers on the division series roster, but my guess would be at this point probably, unless something weird happens.
That would be my guess as well.
Right. Trying to figure out what a rotation looks like. I just don't see that we're going to see a lot of weird stuff going into that division series, because you don't need to. This team's just played really well. There'll be tough decisions at the bottom of the roster, but that comes with the territory.
And again, a short series. I guess the one factor you might consider is if you want to bring a guy back on short rest, who's best capable of doing that. But
2 down. Here's Montgomery.
Just depends on how many pitchers they decide to take, whether they want an extra position player. A guy like Almora for defense could find his way onto the postseason roster. And remember, for the first round, you set your roster, but if you advance, then you can tweak the roster.
Right. And I guess what I'm trying to say too is it probably goes more towards starting pitchers than anybody. But if one of we consider the top 4 for possible playoff starts at this point, if one of those guys has a really bad start here in the next couple of weeks, I think a lot of people tend to watch and go, well, that guy can't start in the first. No,
no.
You really are going to look at track record, big picture, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's a chance who you play might influence your decision making as to how you line up your pitchers in a short series.
Called strike 3. Garza needed a quick inning, and he got it after loading the bases in the first.
Make your home how you always wanted with new roofing from Menards. Find the perfect roof with our wide selection of styles and options. Classic 3-tab shingles from Owens Corning are available in 3 colors. Only $14.99 per bundle after rebate. Lockside vinyl lap siding from ABTco is easy on your wallet and has 3 color options. It comes in a double 3.5-inch profile, and each piece is only $198 after rebate. Now during the Menard Day sale.
Save big money at Menards.
With robotic technology, we can now regrow your natural hair. It's permanent and it's your real hair. And I should know, because I had the same procedure done to myself.
Join the million-plus satisfied customers who have dramatically improved their appearance. There are no plugs, no stitches, just great-looking hair to regain your confidence.
You owe it to yourself.
The technology is here. The time is now. Fantastic results, flexible payments. Call today.
Now that Big Papi's retiring, he's being smarter with his money.
I need to be smart with my money.
So he's become a super savvy shopper. Oh. That's why the Xfinity Best Offer of the Year is a home run. Lock in your rate for 2 years, plus get the X1 voice remote.
There is no crying in baseball.
It's the Big Papi of deals.
But not crying. My eyes are just sweating.
Score our Best Offer of the Year on the X1 Triple Play from Comcast for only $89.99 a month and lock in your rate for 2 years. Go online, call, or visit today.
Welcome back to Miller Park, your Coors Light game report. Mike Montgomery back out on the hill. And as we further the playoff roster conversation, Montgomery is a guy that Joe has mentioned could be put back in the bullpen, guys. And he went on to say these starts, however, in September could really benefit him. Just the usage that he's seeing, kind of like a pinch hitter. If you don't give him those at-bats, how is he going to come in and come up with the big hit? Just like Mike might be put in a position to come out of the pen in a very pertinent situation, which, JD, I'm sure at this point in time, you know where Mike's mindset is in terms of how comfortable he is out there, but where do you see him moving forward?
Well, I think he would prefer to be in the rotation. I mean, going forward beyond this season. I don't know if there's room on the playoff roster for Mike. But perhaps. I don't know.
You've got Chapman as your closer.
Wood.
You've got Wood.
Z-Man.
Zastryzny, Montgomery, so you have some options.
Yeah, you start to crunch the numbers, and you say, well, if you could take 4 starters, and if you do bring 3 catchers, and you got Stroke back healthy, you got Rondon. So contemplate the makeup of your bullpen. I guess that's one of the questions. Do you need 4?
Perez in the air, and it's a center fielder Fowler in the rain. He's like, wait a minute.
It's like Eeyore. Cub fans, the best availability for tickets during the final homestand of the regular season is the Red Series, September 19th through the 21st. Don't miss your chance to catch a game at beautiful Wrigley Field. Visit Cubs.com to get your tickets today.
That area where Dexter caught that fly ball, that's where that seam is, the big seam in the roof. That's the last little area that closes. The 0-1 on Carter inside.
Yeah, and who knows? You know, maybe Bosio and Joe Madden say, you know what, we kind of like Montgomery. We like his stuff. Maybe he does get a shot to pitch in the postseason.
Called strike 2.
Where's that?
That is, I think, in that area where Fowler had a little rain shower. Carter went around, first strikeout for Montgomery. Santana. He's going to ask for an umbrella. Swing and a miss.
It's like a video game where you have different levels. You have these different things pop up, and all of a sudden it starts to rain.
You know, in some ways, our conversation about the postseason roster as we sit here in September, it's almost like spring training in that we come up with all these guys. Well, this guy could make it, and this guy could make it, and we'll see what happens here. But generally what happens is there ends up being 1 or 2 spots really up for grabs. When you're kind of trying to,
yes,
10
absolutely.
guys you mentioned, but really it comes down to just a couple of spots. In the dirt. And the other thing that'll happen, particularly for pitchers, is those guys who don't make a division series, they'll still hang with the team, work out, do everything as per normal in case of an injury, or if you change the configuration in the next round. Montgomery 6 up, 6 down. Nothing after 2.
Hi, can you help us with a Tough Shed storage building?
Would you like something like this?
That's perfect. Cool. Do you guys sell Tough Shed garages too?
We sure do, and I can help.
Great, thanks.
Legendary Tough Shed quality plus the convenience of the Home Depot. Right now, get 10% off the base price on installed Sundance Series sheds, plus no interest if paid in full within 6 months on Tough Shed purchases of $299 or more.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Chicago Cubs and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Chicago Cubs.
Now playing on DirecTV Cinema.
Who's that guy on camera 2?
Oh, somehow these stock market clowns stole $800 million.
There's a reason he interrupted you on live TV.
You have no idea how high this goes.
Find out anything you can.
They're shooting at me, not you. Oh my God. There was only one way this show was gonna end. Money Monster.
Movies start at Channel 125.
Hecky, now we got plenty pride and passion. Yeah, we got many styles and fashions. Michigan to Austin, every part has events to offer, and the fireworks are off and spark. Yeah, best decision I ever made was coming here.
Standing on your big shoulders. Pride and do nothing but love for you. Stay here forever.
Why fly O'Hare when you can fly N-Jet? N-Jet, Chicagoland's choice in jet charter service. Just drive up and take off. For a quote, visit n-jet.com or call 888-FLY-N-JET. There's Fowler, second time up. Flying to left to start the game. Third inning, no score. Curve is inside. JD mentioned the Mets. They beat the Reds again. That's a series sweep. And they've taken 14 in a row against Cincinnati. 6-3 the final this afternoon. Pirates lead the Cardinals 3-2, bottom of the 5th in Pittsburgh. The Cardinals have not yet homered. But they probably will, because they've done it 25 in a row. Mike Leake off the DL, starting against Jameson Taillon.
Major League record, I believe, is 27 consecutive games with a home run.
You are correct. Rangers in 0-2. Fastball just missed. It's 2-2. Garza with a bunch of DL time to start the season with a right lat strain. That's kind of the back of the shoulder. And did not make his 2016 debut until mid-June. So he missed the first 2.5 months. He has not done is pitched very deep. His last start was the only time in 15 outings this year he's gone 7 innings.
Well, I would think the Brewers' hope would be that Matt would perform well down the stretch here and early next year, and they'd be able to move him next year. They're in a rebuilding mode. very low payroll commitments going forward next year. Just he and Braun, really, only two guys making any real money now on this club. Always have to qualify that in the baseball world.
Well, I would think Braun in particular would have a lot of value. Swing and a miss. Garza strikes out Fowler. Braun is being paid for a while now, signed through 2020. But I wouldn't say he's being overpaid for his performance. He's a $20 million player. That's a lot of money, but as we mentioned earlier, he has been a pretty elite performer. So has this guy. Top candidate at this point for the NL MVP. Deep left center. Braun just down to the warning track for the out.
Probably a home run last night. Ball was carrying quite well. 2-0 fastball, and Chris maybe just a little bit under it.
Rizzo at 295, so we've got a couple of guys who'd love to bat 300 this year. Bryant right now at 303. Both like to knock in 100. Rizzo at 96 RBIs, Bryant at 91. Chris has a chance to hit 40. Rizzo 2 away from 30. Old foul on the ground. Good angle.
Yeah, nice backhand. Chris, remember Chris we finished the year here last year, didn't we? He was sitting on 99 RBIs.
And he had a couple chances. Yeah.
And we do cling to those round numbers in baseball. 300 average, 30 home runs, 100 driven in. There was a period of time there, the steroid era, where those numbers didn't really mean that much. They kind of matter again. Home runs, boy, the ball's flying out of the ballpark this year, though. Runs overall, not really taking a big jump forward, but the home run ball.
Way up.
Yeah.
Rizzo chokes up. Garza's 1-2. Bounces way out in front of the plate.
A story somewhere today, might have been the Sporting News, about all the middle infielders, Dozier and Altuve and all the kind of littler guys. Second baseman and shortstop, normally you think of glove first type positions, and all the power that there are at those positions in Major League Baseball these days.
Swing and a miss for strike 3. 3 strikeouts early for Garza. We'll go to the bottom of the third. 0-0.
What if one piece of kale could protect you from diabetes? What if one sit-up could prevent heart disease? Wishful thinking, right? But there is one step you can take to help prevent another serious disease, pneumococcal pneumonia. If you are 50 or older, one dose of the Prevnar 13 vaccine can help protect you from pneumococcal pneumonia, an illness that can cause coughing, chest pain, difficulty breathing, and may even put you in the hospital. Even if you've already been vaccinated with another pneumonia vaccine, Prevnar 13 may help provide additional protection. Prevnar 13 is used in adults 18 and older to help prevent infections from 13 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. You should not receive Prevnar 13 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. If you have a weakened immune system, you may have a lower response to the vaccine. Common side effects were pain, redness or swelling at the injection site, limited arm movement, fatigue, headache, vomiting, muscle or joint pain, less appetite, chills, or rash. Get this one done. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 13 today.
Now that Big Papi's retiring, he's being smarter with his money.
I need to be smart with my money.
So he's become a super savvy shopper. That's why the Xfinity Best Offer of the Year is a home run. Lock in your rate for 2 years, plus get the X1 voice remote.
There is no crying in baseball.
It's the Big Papi of deals.
I'm not crying. My eyes are just sweating.
Score our Best Offer of the Year on the X1 Triple Play from Comcast for only $89.99 a month and lock in your rate for 2 years. Go online, call, or visit today.
Cub fans, here's your opportunity to register for the chance to purchase 2016 postseason tickets for potential games to be played at Wrigley Field. Go to Cubs.com/postseason to register and learn more about this postseason ticket purchase opportunity. The Cubs will conduct random drawings from among eligible fans who successfully complete the registration form.
Bottom of the third inning. Tough matchup here for Mike Montgomery facing this right-handed lineup. Has not allowed a base runner through the first 2 innings. Ball 1 on the rookie shortstop Orlando Arcia. 3 out of 7 in the series. 349 over his last 13 games. Just starting his career, 32 games in. One and one.
The Brewers much better against left-handed pitching than right. About 40 points better on the OPS against lefties.
Wind in the 1-2. Just missed the inside corner.
Montgomery drafted by the Royals first round 2008, 36 picked overall. Early on in his minor league career, he's one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. Baseball America had him near the top of their rankings. Top prospect in the Royals organization for a time.
3-2 is fouled away. It's good to see Hector Rondon back in action last night. Was charged with a run. Stuff looked good. Guessing we would not see him tonight.
No, I think that's why he's hanging out in the dugout.
He could go to the pen later, but yeah, I don't know.
He's got that hanging out with a hat tipped up look. That's I'm off tonight look. Probably has sneakers on.
He went. Arcia strikes out 3 in a row. Montgomery.
That hard biting cutter down and in, and really high right-handed hitter up in knots. That becomes a great counter. The get over curveball. Guys aware, he throws a cutter in, he throws his fastball up in on the hands, elevates 92, 93, and then spins that curveball on 0-0. It's an easy path to get the jump on the hitter if you can find the zone with it.
Well, Steven Strasburg out of the game in the third inning. Not sure what happened, but his return from the DL did not go well. Could be a big story out of Washington. Nationals lead the Braves 1-0 in the top of the third. Two on the catcher, Manny Pena. Slightly closed stance as he waits and takes a back foot breaking ball low and in. Pena had some previous major league time with Kansas City. 5 games, which would be known as a cup of coffee. 2011, 2012. Bounced around the minors with several different organizations, and before getting back to the bigs with the Brewers. And he draws the walk. He came up when Lucroy got traded to Texas. First base runner for the Brewers. Roberto Clemente Day.
This is kind of fun. They got Zobrist holding the base runner and Rizzo on top of Garza.
Garza squared early as Montgomery threw the first with Zobrist covering.
Seen all kinds of different looks from Joe Madden. That one play where Javi Baez was playing second base and he crashed to cover the bunt.
Brewers dugout, they're all yelling at their manager. Hey, wait a minute. How can a second baseman cover first?
They changed gloves. That's how. Didn't they? Wasn't that the issue earlier this year? Well, they couldn't have changed gloves. Remember what was the play this year? They weren't allowed. Joe must have gotten some clarification from somewhere.
Yeah, I thought it was about the glove.
Yeah. Which I thought was that was an awkward try by Garza, and Rizzo clearly in his head. I remember that when that happened, we had the conversation with Joe the next day, and whoever the umpire was, that was the explanation.
Right. It wasn't that Zobrist has to wear first baseman's mitt. It's that the first baseman has to wear a quote regular glove if he's not playing first. There's the bunt. Rizzo will barehand, throws to second for one. Relay out. What a play. Russell with an acrobatic move at second. That was a gorgeous defensive play by the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, and there's just not much Garza could do there with Rizzo right on top of him. Beautiful play.
Inning over.
In case you need anything, just give me a call.
P.O. Box 17. Of course I'm a real company.
You got the area code.
Everything your customers see tells a story. Let the UPS store help you tell the right one. From business cards and banners to expertly packed shipments to mailboxes with a real street address. Come in today for help.
We crushed it last week, buddy. You scored 2 touchdowns. I put you in my lineup.
We did it. Without NFL.com fantasy football, what would friends talk about?
You fly often?
Yes. It's not too late to play. Sign up for free at NFL.com/fantasy.
Cubs fans, unable to watch every second of your favorite team? Don't worry. CSN has you covered with in-game live. Get real-time game updates, including hit trackers, box scores, and pitch-by-pitch results on CSNChicago.com. Presented by State Farm.
Swinging out to Vegas for the weekend. Roll, just roll those dice.
You know there's an election coming up, but do you have all the facts? Get informed on the issues that matter most to you and figure out where the candidate stands so that you can be an informed voter. The more you know.
What a double play turn. Addison Russell, I don't know how he got anything on this throw, but he did. And it all started with Rizzo pouncing on this bunt.
Yeah, barehanded fires to Russell, up and over. Garza's selling out. He's busting it down the line to try to beat it. It was bang, bang. We took a couple looks at it. It could have been safe. Would have been difficult to overturn had that been the call. Craig Counsell took a long look, opted not to challenge. And you can see for yourself how close this really was.
I'm surprised they didn't challenge. This Sunday, get ready for the Bears. 1 hour before kickoff, it's Bears pregame live. Lance Briggs, Alex Brown, Jim Miller, Chris Bowden get you ready for kickoff and have instant reaction. Bears postgame live immediately following the game. The best Bears coverage in the city is on CSN Chicago. Craig Counsell was talking with a home plate umpire, Chad Whitson, between innings, I think, to get some clarification on Zobrist covering first. So is that a 4-6-3 double play? Is Zobrist the first baseman on that play?
I'm still going 3-6-4.
So here is Zobrist. Fourth inning and a scoreless tie. And a strike. Tied at 3 in Pittsburgh in the 6th. Cardinals and Pirates.
I'm trying to dig in here on this online MLB rule book. I've got the heading here, summary of rule changes for 2015. And it says amended rule 3.06 to clarify that the first baseman has the choice of wearing a glove or a mitt.
Right, but that's more about whoever's considered the first baseman. What if the first baseman's not closest to first?
I don't know.
I thought I got clarification on it the last time this came up, and was told that Rizzo should have to swap gloves in that spot.
But apparently,
they let him do it.
Interpretation here.
I'm glad they let him do it. That was a beautiful play.
And for me, as long as there's only one guy in the infield wearing that trapper.
Yeah, because if you had the option, if you're playing short, of wearing a first baseman's mitt, you wouldn't.
Correct.
remember seeing the great documentary on Hank Greenberg. He was not a great defensive first baseman, and he kept getting a bigger and bigger glove, and eventually it kind of led into the idea of the first baseman's mitt. He's back in the 30s and the 40s. Zobrist is on. So he's walked both times. And it's Russell. One on, nobody out. Strike to Addison. Yeah, if you're keeping score at home, it's 3-6-4 on that double play. Ground ball to third. VR. Perez. Double play. 5-4-3. So it's been a tough night for Russell. Added with the bases loaded in the first. Hit into a fielder's choice, and this time a double play.
A more conventional double play turned by the Brewers here in the top of the fourth. Cards has been pretty good over his last 4 or 5 starts, getting a lot of outs on the ground. Just 2 hits in the ball game so far. The Cubs have both of them.
One. Coughlin. And he fouled it off himself. Got some protection down there, but it still stung.
This might be out of timeouts.
Now the 2016 rule book has a section for the first baseman's glove, then for fielding gloves, and then they have a pitcher's glove section as well. So it just could possibly, JD, come down to an umpiring crew's interpretation of who's actually playing first. The last time this happened was against the Brewers, and I think it was at Wrigley. I don't remember who the crew was at that time, but I guess they decided, well, no, you're not the first baseman if you're not closest to the bag.
Yeah, so I'm guessing in the interim, Joe got some kind of an interpretation from another umpire of the league office, to do it again here tonight. Might have been Jerry Meals that time too. Maybe they've hashed it out back there in the league office, and they said, no, he's good, he's okay.
Swing and a miss, and that will end the inning. Garza has settled in nicely after a long first, 0-0.
Safety comes standard on the Toyota Corolla, which is probably why we've received such high safety ratings. Then consider that the Corolla is thoroughly tested to ensure quality, so you know it's built to last. It's no wonder 90% of all Toyota Corollas sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. Tested, trusted Toyota. Lease a new 2016 Corolla with zero due at signing and zero first month's payment. Or get 0% APR for 72 months on Corolla. Find yours at buyatoyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
Hey, and welcome back, everybody. On Friday, September 16th, Cubs and the Brewers. First pitch 120, and up to the first 10,000 early arriving fans receive a Kyle Schwarber home run bobblehead presented by Comcast Sports Net. For more information, visit Cubs.com. Way to go, Schwarbs.
So it's an Evan Costello routine. Who's on first? Craig Counsell. And another conversation, this time with Jerry Meals and Ron Kulpa. So I don't think he's satisfied with whatever explanation he got earlier as VR takes a strike from Montgomery.
Yeah, I can't find anything in the rules that would indicate that you cannot wear first baseman's mitt somewhere other than first base.
Fun with the rule book. We've had a lot of it this year, haven't we?
Montgomery, a big guy, gets good angles. Get on top and drive that cutter down around the knees, and then he can kind of stay on plane and ride that fastball up in the zone. Stay out of the happy zone. Down around the knees, up around the shoulders.
One hit deep, left center. And it's gone. That hit the top of the wall.
It did.
VR just got it out. It's 1-0. That's their first hit.
VR continues to impress. That's his 14th home run. Hit one last night. Ford home run replay. Got out in front of that one and delivered a mighty blow right off the top of the wall.
Nothing Milwaukee. Strike to Broxton. Broxton strikes out as he heads back to the dugout, even though the ball got away from Contreras.
Strikeout number 4 from Montgomery. Good curveball there to get Broxton. Doesn't somebody, I don't know if the Baseball Writers or some magazine, give out a Breakout Player of the Year award, something to that effect?
I think it's the MLB.com, the Gibbies or something.
Oh,
breakthrough performance. Yeah.
VR might be a candidate.
Braun grounded out his first time up. Slow curve for a strike. Montgomery, I talked to him the other day. He said, I didn't really have a breaking ball before I became a pro. He said, I was fastball changeup. Then worked on a curveball and the slider / cutter. And as a reliever, didn't totally abandon the changeup, but it's not a pitch he used a ton. That one lined into left center. Fowler over to cut it off. Braun with an aggressive turn. He's trying for 2. And he makes it for now, and he overslid the bag. He's out. Nice job by Zobrist to hang with it as Braun was too fast.
Carrying a lot of speed into the bag to beat that throw from Fowler. Tried to catch him napping a little bit out there. He would have been safe had he been able to hang on. Just alert, staying with the play.
Like when you're 16-year-olds trying to park the car. Ease it in, ease it in, ease it in. Oh, no, don't hit the brake, not the accelerator. Two outs. Swing and a miss. That's a strike, well framed by Contreras. Even though Braun was safe originally, he's only credited with a single and thrown out 8-4 by Fowler.
Had he been upright and rounded the base and then trying to scramble back, then tagged out, he would have been credited with a double.
Perez bounces foul. Still 2-2. Kick and the pitch, another foul.
Yeah, there's definitely an air of spring training now to these games. The Cubs get ready for the postseason. I mean, you know, the Brewers, their fate is sealed. They know what their season's all about. Don't know that it matters a whole lot to them whether they finish ahead of Cincinnati in the standings or not. I imagine they prefer the better draft pick.
Swung at a really bad pitch. Gets away from Contreras, but he'll sidearm it to Rizzo in time, and the inning is over. VR with the leadoff home run. Fowler to Zobrist, and Ben says, "Oh, I got you, Ryan Braun." 1-0 Milwaukee.
You're taking an enormous risk speaking with us, so thank you. course.
What was the key to toppling this notorious crime ring?
By keeping my identity a secret, I was able to witness the atrocities firsthand. I've been undercover for 5 years. Anonymity is critical to my survival.
Want to get away? Now you can with Southwest fares as low as $59 one way. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
On September 10th, the heavyweights are coming. New UFC champion Stipe Miocic defends his title against kickboxing and MMA legend Alistair Overeem. And former heavyweight champion Fabricio Verdun returns to take on Travis Hoppa Brown. Plus, the Octagon debut of former pro wrestling superstar CM Punk. UFC 203. This is big.
The staff was warm and friendly.
The sessions with all the Advanced Urology Associates professionals were inspiring and motivating.
I would recommend this facility to all cancer victims.
If you or a loved one is affected by prostate cancer, the Prostate Cancer Center at Advanced Urology Associates can help, specializing in only prostate cancer treatment. And our results, well, they speak for themselves. Call today for a consultation in one of our 3 state-of-the-art facilities. Advanced Urology Associates. Safe, simple, and effective.
Hey, you can follow Patrick Mooney, our Cubs insider, all season long on CSNChicago.com, presented by Nationwide's Jeff Vukovich, serving the community for 38 years. Go to jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side. Patrick, wave at us. You can't hear me.
Black 4 on the red 5, Patrick.
Matt Garza, it's a 1-0 lead. Jonathan VR. The home run.
Garza throws his fastball a bunch. He'll throw it first pitch quite often. And usually close to 70% of the time, which is significantly above league average.
Ground ball back to Garza. He'll underhand flip to Carter. I noticed when Matt was warming up in the bullpen before the game, at the very end, looked like the catcher was rolling balls back to him and he was fielding them like grounders, because he sometimes has issues throwing the ball to bases. Ground right to Arcia.
On Saturday, September 17th, Cubs Brewers first pitch 3:05 in celebration of Tradesman Appreciation Day. Ideal Industries will present a Cubs stainless steel drink bottle to up to the first 10,000 early arriving fans. For more information, visit Cubs.com. Well, there you go.
Montgomery with 2 outs. Base is empty. This will be very quick inning. Cubs go 1, 2, 3.
With a title loan from Speedy Cash, you can get up to $2,500 cash on the spot. Get the most cash out of your car and into your pocket. With Speedy Cash, you'll always get the most competitive rates. Keep your keys, keep your car, get your cash.
Love that Speedy Cash.
Find the right Hunter ceiling fan for your home at Menards. Menards has the largest stock selection of Hunter ceiling fans compared to any home center. With a Hunter ceiling fan, you can count on quality craftsmanship and inspired design to create that perfect feeling in every room. Get this 46-inch Acadia ceiling fan in a brushed nickel finish for $119. Or get this 60-inch Rock Ledge ceiling fan for $149 now during the Menard Days sale.
Save big money at Menards.
Rising from the Midwestern Plains, south of Chicago, is the award-winning Riverside Healthcare. Compassionate hands, focused on healing, helping you along life's journey. Professionals who offer hope and innovation. Experts using the latest technology to solve problems and welcome new beginnings. Seeing things clearly is the first step. Seeing that you're well is what we hold dear. Riverside Healthcare, putting well within reach.
When you need cash fast with flexibility, go to Speedy Cash for an installment loan. Get up to $1,500 cash on the spot, pay only for the time you use it, and with a Speedy Cash installment loan, you get more cash when you need it.
Love that Speedy Cash.
Cap, thank you. Hey, Monday at 7, come out and enjoy one of baseball's biggest rivalries as CSN Chicago hosts a Coors Light viewing party at Wildwood Tavern in Niles. Watch Chicago play St. Louis and enjoy ice-cold Coors Light. Great beer equals great responsibility. That was a 4-pitch inning for Matt Garza. 1-0 Milwaukee. Chris Carter, who struck out his first time up, will lead off for the Brewers here in the 5th. That's the changeup. Swinging strike 1.
Changeup is what Braun hit for his base hit, and I'm not sure it's not what VR hit for the home run.
Fastball that time, up a little bit. Carter with 33 home runs, trailing the league leaders Bryant and Arenado by 3. Ball at 2 strikes. Speaking of Arenado, the Rockies are trailing the Giants 4-1 in the 4th. Gorkys Hernandez and Brandon Belt have homered for San Francisco. Called strike 3.
I've been working him up in the zone, in on the hands with the fastball, and then after the breaking pitch went downstairs with a heater and just locks him up. A dart, borderline low, but he got the call. It's on the plate. Second time he's gotten Carter tonight. 6 strikeouts overall for the lefty.
Curve low and in to Domingo Santana. Big night in game 2. 3 hits, knocked in a couple, stole a base, scored a run. We want to welcome all our viewers watching on Farmers Mutual Telephone Company in Jessup, Iowa. Strike. They have opened the panels in right center and left center, so a little bit of a breeze now coming in. I suppose we could end up with the roof opening before this night ends, assuming the rain is gone at some point. Ground ball, Russell. 2 gone.
Mike made a couple of starts with the Mariners. as well as working out of the bullpen and mostly out of the pen here. This is his 4th start with the Cubs. As I mentioned, the one in Colorado quite good. 4 1/3 one hit. He allowed a solo home run, so that outing mirroring this one. Very efficient here tonight. Then he worked at Dodger Stadium, allowed 3 runs in 5 innings on 6 hits. He walked 4 in that ball game, labored through 91 pitches. Last time out, a no decision against the Giants. 4 innings, 3 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. So it's been a mixed bag. But boy, you see the potential when he spins that curveball and has been able to command it here tonight to go along with a good heater. Next level would be to develop better feel for that changeup. But if he were not able to do that, he still would have a chance of being a good, solid, middle of rotation pitcher because of the other pitches.
Yeah, and it's all about 2016. This is not any sort of audition for next year, but yeah, as you said, you can see the potential. 2-2 on Arcia.
Started with the Royals, traded to the Rays, moved along to Seattle, and now Cubs. So he's been bouncing around. He's 27 years old. Sometimes it just takes a while for that light to go on.
Three and 2 with 2 outs. Ball 4. Base Pena, the catcher.
Yeah, if you wanted to downgrade him for anything tonight, it would be these walks at the bottom of the batting order. He walked Pena last time, and now Arcia with 2 outs. Situation calls for being a little bit more aggressive. Just wasn't able to find the zone.
Throw to first. It's Carlos Subero, their first base coach. Longtime third base coach Ed Cedar across the way. One ball, no strikes.
Cedar's been here a long time.
He has.
He survived a regime change. Well, Garza's on deck. You want to get Pena here, so you have Garza leading off the next inning.
Cedar is from Waukegan, Illinois. This is his 10th year on the Brewers staff, 6th as their third base coach. Previously was their first base coach. To Waukegan West High School. Played ball at the College of Lake County. 8 seasons in the minors with the White Sox. Anything else you want to know about Ed Cedar?
That's the Cedar file. That's good stuff.
Has a dog named Squirt.
Squirt?
Yep.
Huh. Dog have a little bladder problem?
Likes lemon-flavored soda. Bryant gets Pena. And that will end the inning. Is it lemon? What's squirt? That's roll. It's kind of
citrusy.
Citrus. There you go. 1-0 Milwaukee after 5.
This one has amazing gas mileage, but I think this one is more my style. But then again, maybe this one is more my style. What to do?
Now, you know, at Continental Motors, there's a 3-day exchange policy on all used cars.
Wow, 3 days, really?
Yeah, 124 hours.
No, 3 days is 72 hours.
Well, not if you're using the metric system.
No, still the same.
Even if you carry the...
72 hours.
So then 3 days. Grab your phone and come check out our unbeatable online selection at ContinentalMotors.com.
Now that Big Papi's retiring, he's being smarter with his money.
I need to be smart with my money.
So he's become a super savvy shopper. That's why the Xfinity Best Offer of the Year is a home run. Lock in your rate for 2 years, plus get the X1 voice remote.
There is no crying in baseball.
It's the Big Papi of deals.
I'm not crying. My eyes are just sweating.
Score our Best Offer of the Year on the X1 Triple Play from Comcast for only $89.99 a month and lock in your rate for 2 years. Go online, call, or visit today.
This is what we use to clean our engines. This is what we use to stay connected to our families and get us to our customers. It helps us save lives and simply makes life better. This is what we use to explore the open road and to keep our nation strong. Clean, quality fuels from Valero. When it comes to powering the American dream, this is what we use. Valero.
Weeknights, don't miss Sports Talk Live on Comcast Sportsnet. David Kaplan leads a roundtable on the day's hottest topics, interviews Chicago's biggest stars, and interacts with you at home. Sports Talk Live, presented by Chevy Silverado, tonight at 5:30 on Comcast Sportsnet.
Hey, welcome back. We head to the 6th. Cubs trail the Brewers here on 1-0. Wednesday, September 21st. The Cubs welcome students, alumni, and fans of the Big Ten. Fans who buy tickets through the special group nights page will receive a special edition Cubs scarf in their favorite Big Ten schools' colors. Also, one lucky individual will get a chance to throw out a ceremonial first pitch. For more information, visit Cubs.com/special group nights. Matt Garza has faced the minimum after the first inning. Cubs loaded the bases, failed to score in the first. They've had one base runner since. That was the Zobrist walk leading off the fourth. He was erased on a double play ball off the bat of Addison Russell. So not much going on here against the veteran right-hander. Dexter Fowler going to get his third look at him. Perhaps he can get something started. Leadoff double would work.
Liner caught by Perez for the out.
An economy of pitches for Garza. That was 66.
Squirt, naturally flavored, has a very small amount of grapefruit juice, but it is a citrus drink, yes. Bryant with one out.
A nice grape knee high.
Yeah. Ever have Fago, Shasta?
Mm-hmm. We used to play bullpen ball for RC Colas.
Sure. It's a swing and a miss.
So, looking for confirmation that that pitch was up. And the home plate umpire, Chad Whitson. I recall seeing Chad prior to this series. Must be a replacement. Try to get in his kitchen here. Brewers travel tonight as well. They start a 4-game series with the Cardinals tomorrow night.
To the seats. Pitch. Back to Garza. Cubs had back-to-back singles in the first inning. Bryant and Rizzo, and no hits since. What's he doing well?
Well, not a lot of hard contact. Obviously, he's avoiding the barrel. He's got good stuff. I mean, the velocity is good. He gives you tough angles because of his height, gets on top.
He's getting early swings, too.
Yeah, and I think that's, I don't know if that's so much a function of him or just the Cubs not being as patient as they normally are.
Ten times he's gotten ahead 0-2 in this game. To half the batters.
When a guy's getting the jump on you like that, that tends to create some early swings.
All right, Allison on Twitter, JD wants to know what's bullpen ball and how do you play it for RC Cola? You mentioned it. What is?
Bullpens were at the park at home. It was the hockey rink. For whatever reason, we used to call those bullpens, the boards, you know. So where the outdoor rinks would be in the wintertime, in the summertime, it was just this oval. And you'd play, 4-on-4, 5-on-5. A lot of times we'd use a softball. And it was a great game for bat control because you had the ball on the line or on the ground, because if you hit it over the walls, it was an automatic out, unless you hit it straight away center field between the two posts, and then it was an automatic home run. So you kind of, it's like dead ball era baseball. You slap it, hit it on the line, hit it on the ground.
And the winner would get RC Cola?
Yeah, the losers had to buy the RC Colas. Down at Abdella's General Store.
Allison, now you know. Good question.
And if you didn't have enough guys for bullpen ball, then you played screen ball.
Rizzo cranks it to right. Gone! Tie ball game. 1-1.
Well, told his manager he wanted to be in there tonight after 2 home run night last night, and he rewards his manager with another big fly. And it was just a matter of time before the home run started to come for Anthony. He had not done a whole lot in that department in the second half of the season. But here he comes. It's number 29.
Watch Garza's reaction.
He's going to try to the body language that one foul, but it's just not going to happen.
So 3 and 2 nights for Anthony. And back to even. VR for the Brewers, Rizzo for the Cubs.
Second hit for Anthony tonight. He singled first time up. He is now driven in 97. Screen ball. Allison probably wants to know what that is. So that's basically you're defending the backstop. So you go to the park and there's a backstop, the Little League Park or local rec park for softball. And anything, so you just lob the ball in, the guy smashes it, and if it gets through the defenders to the screen, it's a base hit. Normally you'd have 3 guys defending the backstop. And then the upper levels of the backstop would be assigned, double, triple home runs, depending on the size of the screen. Usually the outside corners would be triples.
Pretty elaborate.
And when you don't have enough guys, to play a full-on game, you have to get creative.
Right. Anthony Rizzo found his way into the lineup, and he has just tied the game with a home run, his 29th. 1-1.
It's Peyton. It's Peyton on Sunday morning.
With DirecTV NFL Sunday Ticket, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live, like Broncos or Colts.
Cool.
18, the old number. Ooh, I have got a coupon for that one.
It's Peyton on Sunday morning.
Nope.
Upgrade to NFL Sunday Ticket with streaming now included.
Did you know that the average funeral can cost more than $8,300? I didn't want my family burdened with the cost of my funeral, so I called Final Expense Direct and got a policy of my own. For as little as $1 a day, Final Expense Direct has policies that can help pay the cost of your funeral. Plus, you'll get this free family relief guide. There's no medical exam, and my policy can't be canceled.
Call now for a free quote. Call 800-672-6157.
Due to the length of this program, we now move ahead in the action.
Huge jackpots, 24/7 gaming action, luxury hotel accommodations, and Milwaukee's best entertainment and dining are yours at Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Find out more and book your stay today at PaysBig.com. Time for the Midas Tire and Auto Service experts call to the pen. Right-hander Justin Grimm.
The Reaper. He has been on quite a roll of lately. An 0.44 ERA in his last 24 appearances. That's 1 run, 1 earned run, 20 2/3 innings.
Strikes on Jake Elmore. So Garza went 6, 3 hits, 1 run. Montgomery went 5, 2 hits, 1 run. Both runs, home runs.
Ooh.
That's not a strike?
It was not a strike. It was deemed to be high. That's the way you burn it on in there. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Remember Chatter in Little League? He can't hit, he can't hit. Swing better.
You're just going down memory lane here these last couple of innings. About R.C. Cola.
Screen ball.
Screen ball.
Chatter. I had a teammate in the minor leagues. He was in A-ball and he got called up to AAA. He was young, he was only 20, 21. And he wanted the second base umpire to move, and he referred to him as Blue. He said, "Hey, Blue, could you move to..." And it's, "Son, this isn't high school. We don't call each other. We're not blue up here." You never know. You don't know these things till somebody tells you.
So
I don't know if they do it at any level now. I don't do in high school or college, do they refer to them, hey, Blue, does that still play?
I was just going to ask, at the major league level, is it first name thing?
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry?
Yeah.
Base hit. Elmore's aboard, or Sir would probably be the other one, right? Pardon me, sir, if you don't know who it is. Or
no.
Not even
well, maybe if you're a kid.
You don't know the guy's name?
Yeah, if you're a kid. Yeah. But you would be wise to ask. Because you don't want to lose cool points with the umpires by calling them Sir or Blue. And now Joe and PJ Manville coming out to check in with Justin Grimm.
Don't like this. Fastball 91-92. He says, I feel fine. Looks like
I didn't see anything. I didn't see a wince or any kind of a reaction that would lead me to believe something.
Might have just been velocity. Well, they're not going to take any chances. Hopefully nothing's going on with Justin, but so we'll have Carl Edwards Jr. it looks like, and considering he had not thrown a pitch, it'll take a while for him to get ready, but he'll have as much time as he needs, and he'll do it main mound. So we'll have a pitching change bottom of the 6th, and we'll be right back.
Comparing midsize sedans? Here's what puts the Kia Optima ahead of the Nissan Altima. The Kia Optima has an available surround view monitor and turbo engine. The Nissan Altima does not. The 2016 Kia Optima is a KBB.com Best Buy Award winner. The Nissan Altima came up short there, too. Discover the next generation Optima. It's not your average midsize sedan. Right now, get great offers on a 2016 Optima. Visit your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Kia dealer for details.
You ever feel like you're spinning?
Like you're stuck in the same place in life? Just going round and round and round? Yeah, man. Been there.
No, actually spinning.
Oh, we can fix that by going to Midas. They have a great selection of tires. Sorry, Doug. I thought you were trying to get deep.
Nah.
Trust the Midas Touch for tires, brakes, oil, everything.
Wireless service is essential to our business.
T-Mobile's network has been amazing.
I save a lot of time using T-Mobile because I don't have to worry about the overages.
T-Mobile has actually come to us and said, we see what's going on in your business. Here's how we can help.
Switch today and get a free Samsung Galaxy for everyone in your business.
We went to T-Mobile, and we haven't looked back since.
On Saturday, September 10th, head out to Soldier Field for the 19th Annual Chicago Football Classic. Presented by BMO Harris Bank and Sherman Dodge Chrysler Jeep of Skokie. Watch the Clark Atlanta University Panthers kick off against the Central State University Fighting Marauders at 3:30. All to benefit the Chicago Football Classic, a nonprofit organization that provides African American students with academic outreach and support. For tickets and information, visit Ticketmaster.com or ChicagoFootballClassic.biz.
Welcome back, everybody. Cub fans, let's go. Join the Cubs season ticket holder waiting list. Claim your spot in our lineup for season tickets. It's easy and free to register. For details, visit Cubs.com/waiting list.
Upcoming schedules brought to you by PNC Bank. Off to Houston. American League rules this weekend, Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Sunday night, and then off to St. Louis Monday through Wednesday. Wild game in Pittsburgh. It's 4-3 Pirates in the bottom of the 8th. Do not want to speculate too much on Justin Grimm again. It looked like the fastball velocity was down a little bit. But there was nothing in between pitches that we could necessarily see. So we'll just wait and get further word from the Cubs.
Yeah, and you know, as we mentioned, you get to this point and you have the lead that the Cubs have. So it is, again, it's like spring training. You react to every situation and say, I'm not going to take any chances. Obviously you're trying to win the ball game, but that takes a back seat to taking care of guys and making sure they're ready to go when the postseason rolls around.
Edwards says he's ready to go.
Yeah, and you got to make sure you get enough out there. Sometimes in a situation there's a tendency to rush and to say you're ready when you're not ready, because you know you got 20,000 people staring out at you going, okay man, we're waiting on you, especially for a young guy. But these relievers have gotten so adept at getting ready quickly. One of these guys, it's, you know, 4 or 5 tosses of catch up on the mound, crank it up about 8-10 times, and they're ready to go.
VR homered to lead off the 4th. Elmore singled to lead off the 6th before Grimm was removed. Fastball inside. Ball 1. Bryant will get the out at first. Elmore's at second. 1 away. Plays like a sac bunt.
The Reds have signed a 20-year-old right-hander from Cuba named Vladimir Gutierrez. $4.75 million. They had already exceeded their international bonus pool, so they'll pay 100% luxury tax on that signing. So $9.5 million. It will ultimately cost the Reds, but this is a kid. Scouts like him. 97, real sharp curveball.
Broxton, the batter. That's a strike on a curve.
It's been a terrible year for the Reds, especially in their bullpen, but they've got some good arms out there now. I don't know how close this kid, he's only 20, so he may be way away. Iglesias, since he moved to the bullpen, has been really good. Lorenzen's got a good arm out there.
DeSclafani, who's starter, close, safe. I have an idea. We're coming up with all these ideas in terms of rules changes, maybe speed up the game a little bit. I have an idea that is counterintuitive. When you hear it, you're going to think, well, wait a minute. But hear me out, okay?
All right.
What if we got rid of the 8-pitch warm-up rule when a new reliever comes into the game? Here's why I mentioned that. Might that actually get teams to not waste time getting a reliever up in the first place? You often see in the dugout, they give a little hand signal to the catcher, hey, go out and waste some time. Pitching coach will come out just to buy some time for a reliever. If we just kind of got rid of all that stuff, and if you made a change, most guys are going to warm up anyway in the bullpen, and most bullpen guys aren't going to require more than probably 8 to 10 pitches anyway.
So you're saying give him more?
I'm not saying give him more. I'm just saying whatever you need.
Yeah.
Not limit it. Because then if you did make a change and a guy wasn't ready, the rare circumstance.
That's it. I'm intrigued. I see where you're going with that. I really like that
Because I think more time is wasted in game time with, hey, I need you to waste time to get this guy ready in the bullpen.
Right.
When let's just get rid of that whole idea. When you're ready to make a change, make a change. Guy comes in, many as you need. Most guys aren't going to take 20. They might take 11. Think about it. Swing and a miss. 2-2.
I like that idea. And there would clearly be pushback because the pitchers are going to tell you they're much more comfortable warming up out there than they are in the field.
They can if they want. The interesting thing is, I think if we change the rule, I still think teams would waste time to get guys ready anyway. Swing and a miss. Some high cheese that you love so much from Carl Edwards Jr.
It's so appropriate here in Milwaukee.
And as Toby points out on Twitter, and I love this note, that deal between the Rangers and the Cubs, 3 pitchers who pitched very recently in this game, all involved. Right? Garza, Grimm, and Edwards. Here's Braun.
Neil Ramirez was in that deal. He was with the Cubs earlier this year, then came to Milwaukee, then moved on to Minnesota. I'm not sure where Neil is right now. Mike Holt. I'm not sure where Mike is. Let's check here on the old Google machine.
Thought we saw Mike in spring training with the White Sox. 1-0. And a strike. Neil is still in Minnesota.
Mike Holt is, well, he would have finished the year with El Paso, AAA club for the Padres.
Knocked down by Contreras.
Don't know if he earned a call up or not.
Game, bottom 6. 3-1.
We'll put him on and start all over with Perez.
Perez first and second. Cubs are saying Justin Grimm left the game due to illness.
Yeah, there's been something floating around the clubhouse. Some guys battling a bug.
Maybe just under the weather, and I guess that would
Sap a little energy, yeah, a little funky out there.
It's not good news that he's not feeling well, but
better than the alternative.
Better than an arm issue. Game is over in Pittsburgh. The Pirates snapped their 8-game losing streak with a 4-3 win. So the Cubs' magic number in the division down to 9. 1-2 the count. Fouled away. Lead is at 16. Pirates fighting for their playoff lives as they're on the outside looking in. And right now just trying to get back to the 500 mark. They stopped the bleeding with a 1-run win tonight.
Cubs' next win, whether it comes tonight or not, their next win will be their 90th. It will be back-to-back 90-win seasons for them. The first time that has happened since the late 1920s, 1928, 9, and 30. Cubs won 91, 98, and 90 games respectively. They're on pace to win 104. Haven't done that since 1910.
Softly to Rizzo. That will end the inning. So Edwards in for Justin Grimm, who left due to illness, keeps the Brewers off the board in the 6th.
With robotic technology, we can now regrow your natural hair. It's permanent and it's your real hair. And I should know because I had the same procedure done to myself.
Join the million-plus satisfied customers who have dramatically improved their appearance. There are no plugs, no stitches, just great-looking hair to regain your confidence.
You owe it to yourself.
The technology is here. The time is now. Fantastic results, flexible payments. Call today.
I'm 7-0 this season.
You auto-drafted.
That's what all the great GMs do. They delegate.
You didn't do anything.
Yeah, I did. I set the cue.
Without NFL.com fantasy football, what would friends talk about?
Almost wore shorts today. Oh. I was gonna do a sweatshirt shorts combo. Switched to pants instead.
It's not too late to play. Sign up for free at NFL.com/fantasy.
In Chicago, some things just go together, like front porches and blue W's, bricks and ivy, Waveland Avenue and souvenirs, Jake and State Farm. Like home and auto insurance with State Farm, they just go together, and they save you time and money. Just another way we're here to help life go right. Talk to a State Farm agent today.
Time now for our Xfinity high-speed action. Rizzo ready to charge on the Garza bunt, and Addison Russell with an acrobatic play as they turn the double play.
Yeah, very, very close play at first base there. Craig Counsell opted not to challenge. Probably figured, well, he might not be able to overturn that. It was the 3rd inning. Decided to keep that challenge in his pocket.
There's Carlos Torres. Takes over for Matt Garza. So it sounds like a stomach issue for Justin Grimm. Tried to pitch through it. And was unable to. So no arm issue or anything like that. Way up in the air, foul ground over near the first base dugout, and it's Carter, and he has enough space to make the catch.
Another early swing by the Cubs. 1 pitch, 1 out for Torres. Relievers available in the Brewers bullpen, or at least listed on the card here tonight. Only 1 lefty. So a lot of options, a lot of names, faces, pitchers available to Counsell, but only 1 lefty.
We've got a palindrome for the attendance. You ready? 23,832. Broken bat roller to Perez, and he throws out Conklin.
What was that number again?
23,832.
Toby Harrah. He was a palindrome.
Dave Otto. Hayward with 2 outs.
The Reds bullpen and development of their young arms, and whether you anticipate these teams at the bottom of the Central making a big leap forward in the next year, it's difficult. You don't see teams make that big of a jump from one year to the next. Usually,
or as a pitcher in foul territory.
We'll finish that point, I don't know, next week sometime.
Okay, we'll get back to it. I'll remember, like, a week from Tuesday or something. 1-1 in the 7th.
Quiet on the set. Take 73. What? It's a saving big is no laughing matter at the Bob Roman Auto Group. Over 7,000 new and used cars online at BobRorman.com.
There's only one Bob Roman.
It's all imported cheeses. This is a fondue party, Mike.
I realize that, Alan. Taco Bell has these new burritos with warm melted cheese in the center.
This is a Gorgonzola Gruyere medley.
This is a 3-cheese blend plus nacho cheese sauce medley.
The best way to serve warm melted cheese is in the center of a beefy burrito. New cheesy core burritos only at Taco Bell.
Back, everybody. Her dreams turned into nightmares on a fateful day in 2004. Now an American hero hopes to fulfill her improbable Olympic dream. A CSN original, Red, White, and True, the comeback story of Melissa Stockwell on Sportsnet Central tonight after Cubs postgame live.
Sinker baller Trevor Cahill takes over on the mound.
The big righty's 4-4. He's got a 2.68 ERA. League batting .204 against him. Sinker, curveball, changeup. The changeup has been a very effective pitch for him this year. Seems to me like he's throwing that a whole lot more this year than last.
Yes. Albert Almora Jr. for Coughlin in left.
So anyway, the point I was going to finish next week, I'll finish now. It's very difficult. You don't typically see teams take huge leaps from one year to the next. But the 2015 Cubs, a huge exception. They won 73 games in 2014. 24 games better in the standings last year, 97 and 65.
Well, it is possible. Carter fouls.
And then normally when you look at the history of baseball, a team with that makes that kind of a leap from one year to the next typically doesn't take another big step forward. But the Cubs, here we go again, are on their way to 100 wins in all likelihood.
Despite that pitch, you're right about Cahill. Last year, he threw his changeup about 16% of the time, according to Fangraphs. This year, over 26%. So he went from being a sinker, slider, occasional curveball guy and occasional changeup to basically fastball, curve, change.
Yeah, and I think Chris Bosio has discouraged the slider cutter and likes the curveball, changeup, sinker combination.
Joe Smith, Travis Wood.
This game is as tight as can be. 1-1, 3 hits, no errors, 3 left for each club.
Question is, how much more tied could it be? And the answer is none. None more tied. That is a leadoff walk. We'll bring up Santana. Santana Hendricks matchup the other day and we let it go by?
I don't think he was in there. I don't think he played.
You're right. It was Broxton. Because we would have noticed, right?
I think so, yeah.
Ball 1.
Earlier we were talking about middle infielders hitting home runs. Starlin Castro hit his 20th tonight. Yankees beat the Blue Jays 2-0.
Comes Chris Bosio, leadoff walk, and then a 2-0 start on the next batter. Follow in-game live on CSNChicago.com, presented by State Farm. Yankees now 2.5 out. In the wild card race, 3 teams ahead of them for that second spot: Orioles, Tigers, Astros.
Boston and Toronto came into today tied atop the AL East. So the Jays lose. Red Sox leading the Padres 3-2. Out in San Diego, they're in the 4th inning. And Baltimore was just a game behind those two.
So if the season ended at this moment, right, you'd have Cardinals and Mets in a play-in game to then get to the wild card, right? They're tied. The winner of that game would play the Giants, and then the winner of that game would play, at this point, the Cubs. Foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Good visit by Chris Bosio. They strike him out. Okay.
Good coaching. White Sox got to the Tigers bullpen this afternoon, beat Detroit 7-4. Detroit right there in the wild card race in the American League. 4.5 games behind Cleveland in the division. I'll make it 5.5. Cleveland beat the Astros 6-5 tonight.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We don't have to go through all the excruciating details, but let's say there's a 3-way tie at the end of the year for the American League East title. Would you not have playoffs to determine the division winner, then potentially a playoff to determine a wild card spot? I mean, it could get really crazy, right?
Yeah. Although I don't know what they do now. If everybody's in, do they go to some kind of a tiebreaker to determine who the division title winner is? And
I think they do, because the difference now between a wild card and a division is much greater. Before it was just home field advantage.
So you'd have to play that off. So how do you do that? 3 teams tie for division. What do you do?
They have some formula determining which team is club 1, 2, and 3, and then
somebody could choose to play 1 game on the road or 2 at home.
Something like that. Yeah.
That puts a lot of pressure on the traveling secretary. High-stress job to begin with.
Yes, and I'm reading the rule. It does apply. Runner goes in the dirt. That's ball 4. Here's the rule. If one game is needed to break a tie for a playoff berth, it will be played on the Monday after the scheduled end to the regular season, hosted by the team that won the season series against the other. That applies to determining a division championship, whether or not the losing team would still qualify as a wild card. So that could happen in the American League East.
But is there a provision there for 3 teams?
Yes,
that tie.
But you don't want me to read it.
No.
It's going to make your head hurt.
Oh, I hope it happens. It'll be good stuff.
Pena with 2 on and 1 out. Just to give you an idea of how confusing it is, here's one paragraph on this. If Club 1 has a better record against Club 2, Club 2 has a better record against Club 3, Club 3 has a better record against Club 1, or Club 1 has a better record against 2, 2 and 3 have identical records against each other. Fair ball. Thank you, Chris Bryant, but safe. Throw pulled Rizzo off the bag. And the throw to second is late as Rizzo was trying to nail Arcia. So 2 outs in the inning.
That ground ball takes Chris right to the bag. He has to stutter step, though, to make sure he gets the base. That throws off the timing a little bit. The throw is offline, and Timing Anthony can stretch back to the bag. And Pena has beaten him to the pillow.
First and second with 2 outs, and Scooter Gennett announced Joe Madden is out to the mound. So we're good on the playoff scenario thing. I can't even.
Yeah, it's just nuts. Let the lawyers sort that out if it happens.
Pitching change in the 7th in a 1-1 tie. Here's Travis Wood.
Americans don't celebrate the good enough canyon. We didn't aim to be second to the moon. Verizon doesn't settle for good enough either. So now we are introducing Verizon LTE Advanced. With 50% faster peak speeds in more than 450 cities coast to coast. So don't settle for an unlimited plan with limits. Switch now and get our best deal. 20 gigs of limitless data with 4 lines for only $160. Welcome to the Next Gen Network.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Welcome back. It's the Midas Tire and Auto Service Experts call to the pen, and it's left-hander Travis Wood, the often used Travis Wood. This is his 69th appearance.
Yeah, he's been able to answer the bell time and time again. 4-0 with a 3.25 ERA for Travis. Left-handed batters hitting 137 against him, and that's what he'll deal with here. Scooter Gennett, who has made great strides against left-handed pitching this year. Ironically, his numbers against righties have dipped a little bit.
Wood to Gennett, and check on Arcia.
Travis has not been as good in the second half as he was prior to the All-Star break. Had a 6.10 ERA in the month of August.
That's a strike. Montgomery, Grimm, Edwards, Cahill, and Wood. Pounced on by Contreras. 1-1.
If the Brewers were down in this ball game, Craig Counsell might have been willing to burn Gennett here to get a right-handed batter in there against Wood. Always careful, even in September in a tie game. Run the risk of running out of plays. He's not going to run out of pitchers. He's got a boatload of those.
How large is the boat? Pretty large.
Pretty big, yeah.
13, I think. Count is. Popped him up on the infield. Russell, and the inning is over. To the 8th. 1-1.
Hi, this is Ben Zobrist, and you're watching the home of Cubs baseball, CSN Chicago, presented by State Farm.
Monday at 7, come out and enjoy one of baseball's biggest rivalries as CSN Chicago hosts a Coors Light viewing party at Wildwood Tavern in Niles. Watch Chicago play St. Louis and enjoy ice-cold Coors Light. Great beer equals great responsibility.
Your perfect door is just one stop away at Menards. We have a great selection of Mastercraft doors in stock. For a more custom look, choose from one of our pre-designed doors or create your door your way with our door designer. Find the right size and style for your bathroom with Dakota Vanities. 24 by 21 inch Monroe Vanities come in a Java, cottage, or homestead finish. Your choice, only $89 each. Now during the Menard Days sale.
Save big money at Menards.
Cub fans, Joe Madden wants you to own his car. How about that? Joe is raffling off his signature vehicle for charity. Raffle tickets are $100 each and are available in fan services during all remaining home games or at 3721 North Clark Street. Full details available at Cubs.com/Joe's Raffle. Corey Knebel, next man out of the chute for the Brewers. 25th appearance, 0-2 with a 4.76 ERA. Spent some time on the DL earlier this year. Mid-90s heater and a sharp downward breaking curveball for Knebel. First came to the big leagues with the Tigers. 2014, made 8 appearances. First round pick. of Detroit in 2013. Well, actually a supplemental pick after the first round, 39th overall. University of Texas, I believe, right? Knebel?
Yes. You are correct, sir. Here's Contreras. Tommy La Stella on deck. I believe it's for Almora Jr. Fouled away by Wilson.
Folks, you see the guy behind home plate in the flag shirt? That's an entire flag outfit. He's got the matching pants. It's Captain America.
I thought you were going to tell me it was Evil Knievel.
Yeah, he does have a little Evil Knievel thing going on.
Impersonator.
Pitching has ruled tonight. 6 hits total, 3 aside, a couple solo home runs, and that's about it.
Breaking ball from Knebel.
Hey, we got to wish happy birthday to The Rock. Bill Schroeder next door.
My buddy next door.
Former big league catcher, current analyst on Brewers television. There's The Rock celebrating a birthday today.
Called strike 3.
Pryor celebrating a birthday today. He is 36.
La Stella off the bench.
This might make some folks feel old. Joe Rudy is 70 today.
Wow. 70.
All right, put it in a box. Shows you your pitch. Go ahead, hit it in the corner for 2 bases. It's Tardy.
So 3 Cubs affiliates starting the playoffs tonight. These are best of 3. Myrtle Beach, an 8-1 winner at home over Salem. Trevor Clifton, just named the pitcher of the month in the Cubs organization. He got the win. Tough luck for South Bend. They lost in the bottom of the 11th at West Michigan 3-2. So I think the next 2 games are in South Bend. The Cubs will have to win both of those. Midwest League playoffs. Short season A, the Eugene Emeralds are at Hillsboro trailing 1-0 in the bottom of the 2nd. Emeralds against the Hops. Full count, 3-2 on La Stella. Second base, it's Arcia, the shortstop. Cubs' only hit since the first inning was the Rizzo homer in the 6th. Haven't done much else offensively. Here's Fowler, 0 for 3 tonight. Strike called.
You know what it is? It's the night game on getaway day. Just messing with everybody's rhythms. Everybody's out of sync.
Strike on Fowler. The pitch. 96 on the inside edge. Emergency hack that time.
The Cubs off tomorrow, then they'll have one more scheduled off day. That's the 22nd on the homestand between the Cincinnati and the St. Louis series. This time of year, guys are dragging. A lot of guys don't see the light of day till about 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Shut those blackout curtains, sleep as long as possible.
Pitchers have bested the hitters tonight. 6 hits combined in this ball game. Another 1-2 pitch drilled foul to right. Today the Cubs announced details for fans looking to purchase single game tickets to potential postseason games at Wrigley Field. So until September 21st at noon, you can register for a random drawing to win a chance to purchase single game postseason tickets for a potential wild card game in National League Division Series. Cubs.com/postseason. Pretty exciting time to be a Cubs fan. Swing and a miss. So eventually Knebel gets Fowler. Cubs have not reached base against 2 Brewers relievers. 1-1 late.
On the next drive, Lincoln Way East football, presented by Riverside Healthcare.
I think anytime you have fond memories of an alma mater, be it high school or college, and then you get to bring back a group of young men to be here where I played a little football here back 89 to 94, and it's a special place to me.
He's done so much for us, doing this is definitely just a small payment we could give back to him.
Tune in to High School Lights tomorrow night at 11 for this edition of Drive Griffins, only on CSN Chicago.
Cap, thank you. Joe Smith, veteran right-hander, is the 6th Cubs pitcher to work tonight. Matt Caesar is also in. He's playing left. VR VR homered in the 4th. Little leadoff homer last night. He drives this one to straightaway center. Fowler will just watch this one go. That hit the bottom of that board. Wow, that was a shot, and it's 2-1.
Wow, right. That's where Prince Fielder used to hit him. That was a massive home run. Off the bat of Jonathan VR. His second tonight. His skill set has been on full display in this series. Last night, home run, bunt, single, triple. Tonight, a couple of long balls.
Ford home run replay. VR with his first career 2-homer game. Strike on Broxton. Talked a lot about VR in this series. He's only 25. So you referenced earlier this week, he's prone to making some mistakes on the bases. Errors defensively, but he's a pretty intriguing player. He's got 15 homers, 34 doubles, 52 stolen bases. And he might hit 300 this year. He's at 299 currently.
Yeah, and he walks. He'll take his walks. Home run's been a bit of an issue for Joe Smith since joining the Cubs. It's the 4th one he has allowed.
To the mound.
And with that out, he has pitched 8 innings in a Cub uniform.
So he's still upset about the home run pitch.
And he had allowed 4 home runs with the Angels in 37 2/3.
The ball hit hard, drawn into center. 3rd time he's been on tonight. Stuart McVicker, happy 43rd. Tyler Thornburg getting ready for the 9th. To Zobrist, and that will be it. 2 outs.
The most popular way to follow the Cubs postseason push is with the MLB.com at-bat app, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Get MLB.com at-bat on your favorite devices now.
Breaking ball strike.
This is Joe's 4th appearance since coming off the disabled list when rosters expanded on the 1st of September. First 3 really good.
Zobrist runs. He's out. Zobrist with the Baez-like tag, and what a strike from Contreras.
Perez lingering out at second base as if he thinks he was safe. I don't get any indication from the Brewer dugout that they're going to ask for a challenge here.
We're still waiting.
No challenge.
No challenge. Cue the orchestra. We go to the ninth. There you go. Maybe Anthony Rizzo's got to do it again. Cubs are down 1.
Hi, can you help us with a Tough Shed storage building?
Would you like something like this?
That's perfect.
Cool. Do you guys sell Tough Shed garages too? We sure do, and I can help. Great, thanks.
Legendary Tough Shed quality plus the convenience of the Home Depot. Right now, get 10% off the base price on installed Sundance Series sheds, plus no interest if paid in full within 6 months on Tough Shed purchases of $299 or more.
VR has hit 2 home runs tonight, and it's 2-1. Anthony Rizzo's hit 1. He's on deck. Bryant will lead off. Tyler Thornburg is their closer after the trade of Jeremy Jeffress.
59th appearance for Thornburg. Pitched to a 1.72 ERA. Boy, he's been tough to hit. Just 30 hits in 57 2/3 innings. He has struck out 75.
Here we go. Thornburg to Bryant. Good rip. Foul back a heater. It's a strike. It's 0-2.
Thornburg, 27 years of age.
It's foul.
Change up. Can elevate the fastball. Has a good curveball too.
Hasn't allowed an earned run in a while. Last 15 appearances and 16 innings. He has the Brewers franchise record. Consecutive batters retired for a reliever. 26 in a row. Back in the first half. Tough part of the order though for him here. And that's wrong as he strikes out Bryant. Hefty home run. Anthony Rizzo. He's hit 3 the last 2 days. 2 last night and 1 tonight.
Just unloaded on that Garza breaking pitch.
Curveball misses.
It's an old-fashioned power pitcher's approach. He's got mid-90s fastball that he'll climb the ladder with, and that overhand curveball. Reminds some of Ben Sheets when he was pitching here with the Brewers.
It's a good comp, yeah. Cubs won 7-2 on Monday. It was 12-5 Milwaukee last night. 3 runs combined on home runs here tonight. Line shot foul to right. Pitch. Tough one to lay off, but Rizzo did, and it's 2-2.
Three more with these Brewers. They'll be in town at the end of the road trip.
Full count. Zobrist waits on deck. Just stole away a home run that would have tied the game. Wow.
And if you recall, Villar's home run in the 4th bounced off the top of the wall in front of the Brewer bullpen. This time Broxton goes up over the wall to take one away from Anthony.
Clearly would have gotten over that wall. Tough break for Rizzo. Here's Zobrist with 2 outs, fouled away. There are game-saving catches, and then there are game-saving catches, and that one qualifies.
An idea how strong Anthony is. Hit the ball that high, that far, that part of the ballpark.
Sometimes you'll see a play made in the 4th or 5th and feels like it saved the game, but when it happens in the 9th, that is pretty dramatic. Let's see if Zobrist can start a 2-out rally. Where Pena wanted it. He wanted that pitch in the dirt. That would have been 4 homers for Rizzo these last 2 nights. Foul again.
You know he's not going to go down easy. He's such a grinder. Walked twice tonight. Ben has only hit 1 home run in the second half of the season. Had 13 before the break.
Giving him a battle here. Another 0-2 on the way. High in the air to right. Playable. Santana. And the Brewers take 2 of 3. Jonathan VR homers from each side of the plate. Keon Broxton with a home run saving catch in the 9th. And the Brewers escape with a 2-1 win.
Yeah, not a lot of hitting in this ball game. Mike Montgomery making his 4th start for the Cubs. Threw the ball very well. Encouraging work from him tonight. And yeah, we're seeing the emergence of a very good young player in Jonathan VR.
Toast of the game presented by Binny's Beverage Depot. It is VR. He's a switch hitter, and he showed some power from each side of the plate.
Yeah, and that's been the story all year long for him. Now, this one just barely gets out off the top of the wall, but the second one, a massive home run off of Joe Smith, way up there off the board in straightaway center field.
Binny's is the official champagne provider of the Chicago Cubs. Magic number is at 9. Cubs will next play on Friday in Houston, and we're back with you on CSN. Monday night opener of the series in St. Louis. Cubs and Cardinals at 7 o'clock Central. Blue Cross Blue Shield post-game live is next. Final score once again, Brewers 2, Cubs 1. Stay with us for our post-game coverage next.
Dallas, Texas on Mexican Independence Weekend.
Huge right hand by Canelo.
Canelo Alvarez is back to face an undefeated world champion on an 8-fight knockout streak, Liam Smith.
I don't think he'll get up from that.
Will Liam Smith keep the knockout streak alive? Or will it be a Canelo Alvarez celebration to remember? Canelo versus Smith, Saturday, September 17th, live on DirecTV pay-per-view.
Attention, type 2 diabetics. According to the FDA, the drug Invokana may lead to diabetic ketoacidosis. If you or someone you love took Invokana and suffered ketoacidosis, you may be entitled to compensation. Ketoacidosis can cause kidney failure, coma, and even death. Call the law firm of Avram Blair & Associates right now for a free consultation.
Call 1-800-697-1903. That's 1-800-697-1903.
Cubs baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Honda dealers, as reliable as the cars themselves. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Audi, truth in engineering. Menards, save big money at Menards. And by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places.
All right, we got some work we gotta get done yet. All right, and we'll work on Valparaiso a little bit today. All right, but we have to become a better team than we are right now. All right, we are right now. When we leave here in a couple hours. Okay? So we're on circuit 2. Here we go, boy. Over the metal, baby. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Training camp and in this time of year can be a little more taxing, even mentally, than it is physically. What we do now, from a mental standpoint, helps down the road to ease maybe the physical nature of what they're going through.
So mentally, you kind of have to be focused and be ready to come and be tired mentally. You know, it helps if you kind of either your roommate or your somebody else on the team, you're fighting through it together, just knowing that there's 95 other guys that are coming every day.
The physical aspect of it, we've been taken care of right now with Coach Latham. He takes care of these guys in terms of all summer how he's worked with them, ice baths and stretching and just making sure that our guys are healthy, and nutrition, and Dane in the training room and those guys, they do a great job. And so, it stinks. It's a long camp. It's tough. It's part of it, but it's worth it. And it's kind of what gets you the extra 38 seconds.
I thought I was a good worker coming out of high school, but you relearn it coming into college. It's completely different. And you learn how to fight through some adversity and some things that you just don't think you'll be able to get done. You learn how to get them done, and yeah, it'll carry with me for the rest of my life.
In a situation like that, though, where you're going for the checkered flag, where is the fine line between just racing aggressive and maybe going over the line?
I definitely think that if we would have turned him in the tire barriers and he wouldn't have finished, that would have been over the line. I think coming to the checkered flag and making a mistake, getting loose, and both of us ending up in the grass, drag racing to the end, we still finished nose to nose. No one exactly knew who had won the race. So I think that that's an aggressive move. Like we said, we hate the circumstances that it ended under, but now it is what it is.
You know, it's for the casual fan, it's such a great hook. It's so entertaining. People love to watch that stuff. The diehard's going to watch you anyway, whether you win by a mile or a half a length or whatever. But for someone who doesn't know much about the sport, do you realize how entertaining that was?
Yeah, that was definitely entertaining. From coming across the finish line in the dirt, not knowing who won, thinking the third place guy won, since the transponders didn't pick up the timing lines, and him running out on the racetrack to throw a tackle afterwards. It's definitely great from the fan perspective.
All right, you're 19 years old. Cole, the guy that you got in the tussle with, he's 18 years old. You don't see stars in major sports at that young an age. Baseball players are in the minors. Football, basketball, they're still in college. How'd you get to be this good this quick? You won the Chicago race a year ago.
Yeah, I've had a lot of help. My dad raced for quite a few years. He's an Xfinity Series champion, Joe Nemechek. He's been a great dad, mentor, boss, pretty much all of the above. He's sped up my learning curve, and then also growing up in the sport with him. You see the good, the bad, the ugly. You know how to act in certain situations. And then having a radio on each weekend that I was at the racetrack with him, you can listen to him and the crew chief communicate throughout practice, throughout race, see what kind of strategies they're going through. It's just a learning aspect. The more experience you get, the better off you're gonna be.
How old were you when you started?
I got my first go-kart when I was 3 years old. I started racing go-karts when I was 5.
That's unbelievable.
Looking ahead to next weekend, there's a new format in the Camping World Truck Series where they're incorporating the chase, much like in the Sprint Cup Series. So Chicagoland Speedway hosts the last race before the chase. You're firmly in the chase field, but how will you prepare for that race, and what do you anticipate with this new chase format?
I think it's going to be a lot of action-packed racing, to tell you the truth. Some of the guys that don't have wins right now that are trying to lock themselves in, they're going to do whatever they have to do to lock themselves into the chase. The guys in points right now, they're going to try and maintain their points gap, the last two, to try and stay in. So I expect good, hard, competitive racing. For me, being locked in already, we're going to come here, we're going to try and win the race. I mean, that's what we have to do. We're trying to start some momentum before the chase starts. Getting a win this past weekend at Mosport definitely helped that, so we can take that throughout the chase and hopefully get a few more wins and be in the Final Four at Homestead going for that championship.
All right, to be great racing, but there's also going to be some amazing food. I was watching Chef put this all together. Tell us a little bit about what we've got here.
So we started a tradition at Chicagoland Speedway last year. The winner is going to get a Chicago dog in Victory Lane. And not only is this a Chicago dog, it's a half-pound, 12-inch dog that we grill and steam in beer.
Wow. Thing looks really good.
So last year was the inaugural year of this new tradition, and Chef prepared the hot dog, and I handed it in Victory Lane to the Sprint Cup winner, Denny Hamlin. He took a bite out of it. The hot peppers were a little bit too much for him, and we had to hold off on the NBC post-race interview while he decompressed, had a little water, cooled down a little bit. So I talked to Chef now about maybe we tone it down a little bit on those hot peppers, but it's a Chicago tradition.
So this will this also be available? People can get this dog at the race?
It will, absolutely. So we're big on invoking Chicago traditions to Chicagoland Speedway. Now that we host the kickoff race in the chase, fans come from all 50 states, Cap, and they're coming to Chicagoland to experience Chicagoland, and this is part of that tradition. And our wonderful partners at Levy Restaurants, one of the premium caterers in the sports entertainment business, have put together a great tradition now and a great delicacy for our fans to enjoy.
What else do we have on the menu, Chef?
You know, an interesting thing that we're doing is the racetrack works with the local high school, and the students actually come up with a few dishes that we'll be featuring that weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, very proud of that partnership with Joliet Township High School. They created culinary dishes. They had to create the game plan, the ingredients, price it all out, present it. 2 were selected. They're on our menu, and a portion of the proceeds will go to charities that they themselves selected to benefit from.
All right, final race before the chase. We got to make our picks.
Yes, going to Richmond this weekend. A little bit of a short track, a little bit of a super speedway. it's going to be tough. We've got a couple drivers on the outside looking in, including Ryan Newman, who's been on this show before.
Yeah.
So he's on the outside right now, and we'll see how that plays out. But I'm going to go with Carl Edwards.
That's not who you told me you were going to take.
I was going to come with Denny Hamlin, but I got a good piece of advice from my friend here. I'm going to go with Carl Edwards.
Well, he told me to take Kevin Harvick, so I'm going to go Kevin Harvick.
I think that's a smart choice.
Trump your Carl Edwards. Hey, best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Keep entertaining everybody, but stay safe out there, okay?
Thank you.
Chef, thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. You got it. Dig into the hot dog. All right, congrats to Greg Lee from Belvedere, Illinois. You're the final winner of 2 tickets to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 400. Don't forget, an action-packed weekend this September at Chicagoland Speedway. Get your tickets today. 4 days and nights of thrilling racing. And remember, kids get in for just $25. Go to ChicagolandSpeedway.com. Next, Colin Kaepernick started his protest of the national anthem in the preseason. It looks like he started a movement that his team's biggest rivals will continue Sunday in Week 1. We will discuss.
Quiet on the set. Pick 73. What? It's a... Saving big is no laughing matter. At the Bob Roman Auto Group, over 7,000 new and used cars online at bobrorman.com.
There's only one Bob Roman.
We asked a group of young people when they thought they should start saving for retirement. Then we asked some older people when they actually did start saving. This gap between when we should start saving and when we actually do is one of the reasons why too many of us aren't prepared for retirement.
Just start as early as you can. It's going to pay off in the future.
If we all start saving a little more today, we'll all be better prepared tomorrow.
Prudential, bring your challenge.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital. I feel like a fish with no water.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor. Because even one attack is one too many.
Homeowner Protection Services can help save your home. We specialize in foreclosure assistance, and that's all we do. If you're behind on your mortgage payments, being threatened with foreclosure, have been denied a loan modification, or been the victim of a predatory loan, it's critical that you call Homeowner Protection Services now. Homeowner Protection Services has a network of attorneys, and our agents are available to speak to you now. New laws are in effect that may save your home. So call Homeowner Protection Services now.
Attention, type 2 diabetics. According to the FDA, the drug Invokana may lead to diabetic ketoacidosis. If you or someone you love took Invokana and suffered ketoacidosis, you may be entitled to compensation. Ketoacidosis can cause kidney failure, coma, and even death. Call the law firm of Avram Blair & Associates right now for a free consultation.
Call 800-286-5089. That's 800-286-5089.
Colin Kaepernick kneeled during the preseason, says he will continue kneeling during the national anthem. Now, one of the chief rivals of the San Francisco 49ers, the Seahawks, say they may kneel as a team. Doug Baldwin saying it will not be an individual thing. If we do this, it will be as a team. What's your take on this?
I think Colin Kaepernick has helped sort of ushered in a new era in sports where we're going to see more and more of this. You think of the ESPYs and, the NBA players who stood up and sort of demanded change. Colin Kaepernick has made his point, and now the Seahawks. I think, look, like, in my opinion, that is the beauty of our country. You're allowed to protest and say whatever you want to do. And if that's what he feels like he wants to do, and his organization and his employer...
He has that right.
He has that right. And same thing with the Seahawks. If their employer says it's fine, and even if they don't, they want to do it anyway, this is what you're allowed to do in our country. I think we're going to see this, more and more in professional and even in collegiate.
Okay, then you have the coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets John Tortorella coaching Team USA, and his son is on his 3rd tour of duty in Afghanistan as a Special Forces. And he comes out yesterday and said, I'm just making it clear to my guys, you have the right to do that. You sit during the anthem, you will not play. You will sit throughout the game. I think he's wrong.
Well, but my answer would be, as the head coach, he has that right too.